Whenever you think of speedrunning, what comes to your mind? Mario, Minecraft, maybe even Celeste. But what if I told you there is a game that you never thought about? So Animal Crossing is a game where you go to a town or island, pay a loan because you weren't rich enough to afford a house, and live around cute animals. But in 2021, there was announced a little cool DLC with its own quote-unquote story mode. That's not much of a story, but you know. And that means it has an ending. The credits scene. So that meant it was speedrunnable, but how? Well, I'm here to tell you how I did it and how did I get the world record on it. To get the Happy Home Paradise credits, you need to make 30 houses and 4 facilities, one of them being an option. So it didn't seem like a hard speedrun at all. So I would assume this would take not a long time because it's definitely, you know. But boy, did I was wrong. Also, if you like this type of content, consider subscribing. To us small channels, it helps out a lot. Thanks. So I hopped on my alt and directly headed to the airport. The run starts exactly when you press time for takeoff, which immediately leads you through a cutscene that you can luckily skip. Then we do a bunch of intro stuff. We get on the island, meet Nico, and Lottie just forces you to work, and Elise just comes out of nowhere. So, the basis of this speedrun is basically just doing a bad job, barely opening boxes, and just hoping the villagers will like them. And for some reason, they do. After that, we get a cute cutscene which we get to skip immediately, and proceed to leave Eloise stranded on a barely decorated island. Then we somehow get paid for that mediocre work and continue with the next client, which sounds easy enough, but it takes around 2.5 minutes for each house because of all the dialogue involved. And that's just a normal house. For example, after finishing Ali's house, she just forces you to take a picture of it just because, I don't know, and then Eloise sees that and she's like, oh, I have a good idea. What if I just do the exact same? And this is what almost ruined the run. Since I couldn't read the dialogue, I had no idea something extra was happening. I had completely forgotten about this part of the run. I talked to some people, but they didn't let me build them a house. Luckily, I realized fast enough and sprinted towards Nico, snapping a quick pic at Luis's house and getting out of there as fast as I could. Everything after that goes to normal. I do more houses, get the sparkle effect feature, and then keep going until Lottie decides it's good time to take a break. That basically means go outside the office, talk to Lottie, and then go back to work. One house later and Nico wants to talk to you. He found a DIY recipe and basically doesn't know what a DIY recipe is. So we just tell them, oh sure, eat that and nothing else. It's a DIY. The next big quote-unquote plot point is Lottie being, I want a school. When I build it, it doesn't matter. You gotta do it anyways. Yeah, that's the voice I do for Lottie. So we just use the default building and add the fast items I can get. Then get poor Elise as a teacher and accidentally call the school 11. Which was probably a time loss since I could just have not named it, but oh well, it's too late for that. After that, there's nothing pretty much important. I mean, we get the actual wall item, which is probably the best item in the game, but besides that, everything pretty normal. But at this point in the run, I was realizing this was gonna take way more than an hour, which is already 6 times more than I thought the run would last. But then it dawned on me. Every 10 houses, there's a celebration the Happy Home Paradise team does for you that's not skippable. If the sub hour was impossible, to get the sub hour, I would have to work extra hard. So it's faster to beat Mario Odyssey than this DLC. Moving forwards, Lottie gets permission to build 2 facilities, either the cafe or the restaurant. So before the speedrun, I knew the cafe was faster. Only having 1 room and half of the staff was way faster. So I went with a barely changed cafe, which its name was 6. I don't know or why it's called 6, but it is. Then we get the Happy Home Network, an app to share or see other people's designs. But luckily we aren't forced to use it. So we just continue the run, talking to Nick about more DIY and getting into the next new feature, roommates. So basically, you get the option to make other villagers move in with other villagers. But I'm unsure if that counts in the houses built around. But in this first one, we have to get a roommate for Ali, aka the closest person I could see nearby, Soleil. The good thing about this is that we don't need to place any items, instead just talk to Ali and leave. I don't know how even the game allows you to do that, but I'll take it. Next up, we design some houses and go talk to Wordle about sounds? Yeah, I don't even know, but then he walks off screen and then just disappears, since you don't see any footsteps after he leaves. Then Lottie just randomly goes, "Oh, you can build 2 floors houses." A feature I will never use on this entire round, since it's just a time loss at this point. To designing more houses I go and actually get promoted, which is actually more dialogue, as if this DLC didn't have enough. This game was clearly not meant for speedrunning. Why in the world would I ever think of speedrunning it? Anyways, I've done 20 houses, and you know what that means. Being in this uncomfortable cafe with the worst fitting walls I've ever seen from a cafe. For some reason, after that whole celebration, Lottie feels bad, so she goes to the hospital. Even though I don't even know there was any sort of medical place around, since the only places we know are the Ison and the Archipelago. So Nico just kinda panics and accidentally does Lottie's job, which just leads to Lottie being, "Well, now I want a hospital here." So I designed as fast as possible a hospital that honestly was the most decent looking of all the facilities I've done this far. Yes, I'm looking at you, cafe. Anyways, I finally did not name the hospital, so the hospital will forever be known as Hospital. I know, it's way too good of a name to be handled, but you know, did you like it when we talked to Wordle? No? How about that? But again, we just basically stare at Wordle and just keep going. Lottie was thinking it would be a good idea to set up a kind of festival as if we weren't on the festival event time. So that means we're getting close. Stop 2 hours was looking more possible each second, and I was starting to get motivated to achieve that. Oh, also Tom Nook is here to grant me access to my own catalog to use on the houses. As if I was using more than the items I needed to on the houses. But then it happened. I realized that I made a terrible mistake. This is fast. Oh, she has something to say? Oh, yes. Client. She forced me. Oh, Lottie, you... Remember at the start when I told you that I only needed to make 4 facilities? Well, I thought it worked like that, but almost near the end, Lottie refused to not have a restaurant, ruining entirely the possibility of a sub 2 hours. After that, I was really trying somehow to make it before the 2-hour mark. Actually, we may have enough time, but this may be way too close. but just when I completed the last house. Celebrate. I don't know. Oh, why do we have to celebrate? What? Like, the celebration is the festival, you know? That celebration stopped me from even leaving it before 2 hours. But still, I didn't give up. I may not have sub-hour, or even sub-2 hours, but if I can beat this as fast as I can, it'll be worth it. And so I did. 2 hours, 3 minutes, and 14 seconds. May not be a perfect run, but hey, I'm technically a world record since no one else was insane enough to try this, so I'll take it. So I would say that after all this misery, you should consider subscribing and stuff, since this stuff takes a long time to make, and I'm planning to do more projects in the future. Well, anyways, if you liked the video, consider subscribing, liking, commenting, all of that stuff, and see ya!